Good morning, distinguished guests, esteemed panelists, and respected attendees. It's an honor to welcome you all to this important session on climate change and sustainable cities, legislative action for clean air and resilient urban living. It's indeed a historic moment for the Punjab Assembly for hosting this first CPA regional conference in Punjab. I'd like to appreciate our Honorable Speaker, Punjab Assembly, Malik Ahmed Khan, and I request for a big round of applause for Honorable Speaker. It's also important to mention that this is all happening due to the support of Honorable Madam Chief Minister Punjab, Ms. Maryam Nawaz. The Honorable Speaker has taken some amazing initiatives since the formation of this Assembly, which include formation of many caucuses in Punjab Assembly, including the Women Caucus, the Child Rights Caucus, which has been formed for the first time. And it's very important for me because I'm its convener. Also, there's caucus for minorities, for climate change, which is very relevant to the topic that we are discussing today. Some of these caucuses have been formed for the first time. Also, it's important to mention that the Honorable Speaker has formed a special committee on gender mainstreaming as part of the Punjab Assembly. And I see some of its members present here as well. Today, we are here to discuss an issue that is both urgent and pervasive, the impact of air pollution on urban populations and the pressing need for sustainable cities. Air pollution, a significant driver of climate change, is causing severe consequences for public health, the economy, and environment. From worsening of respiratory diseases to the acceleration of global warming, the effects are undeniable. As we gather today, the urgency of action cannot be overstated. We must find ways to not only mitigate the effects of pollution, but also ensure that our cities become resilient and sustainable in the face of climate change. This session will explore the role of legislative action in driving clean air policies, anti-smog regulations, and advancing sustainable urban development. With this in mind, I am very excited to introduce our esteemed panelists who bring a wealth of expertise and insight to this crucial discussion. I invite them here to share with us their thoughts on how legislation can address these challenges. Specifically, we look forward to hearing about tangible policy proposals, successful case studies, and legislative solutions that can pave the way for cleaner air, healthier cities, and resilient urban living. We have with us, and we are very lucky to have with us, Madam Maryam Aurangzeb, who is the Senior Minister from the Government of Punjab. With an extensive portfolio spanning planning and development, environment protection, climate change, forests, wildlife, and fisheries, as well as key initiatives under the Chief Minister's special programs, she has been instrumental in driving progressive policies for a cleaner, greener, and more resilient future. Her distinguished public service career includes twice serving as Federal Minister for Information and Broadcasting and playing a key role to environmental and climate policy at both the federal and provincial levels. Since being elected to the Punjab Assembly in 2024, Madam Senior Minister has taken a critical role in shaping Punjab's environmental and development agenda, spearheading initiatives that integrate sustainability into governance at every level. Today, she will share with us a case study on the Chief Minister's anti-smog efforts as well, which is a crucial legislative initiative aimed at tackling this issue head-on. With her unwavering commitment to policy-driven climate action, Madam Senior Minister Maryam Aurangzeb continues to be a driving force behind innovative legislative solutions. Please join me in welcoming Senior Minister Maryam Aurangzeb Sahiba. We also have with us the Speaker from Senegal, the Legislative Assembly of Malaysia. First elected in 2008, he has represented Selenga in numerous CPA conferences and global legislative discussions. Under his leadership, Selenga has implemented transformative, sustainable urban initiatives demonstrating how legislation can directly improve urban resilience and climate adaptation. We are eager to learn from his experiences. Please welcome Honorable Lau Weng San, Speaker from Malaysia. Next, we have on the panel Ms. Munazza Hassan, who is member of the National Assembly of Pakistan. Madam Munazza is currently serving her third tenure in the National Assembly. During her last tenure, she served as Secretary of Parliamentary Caucus and held the position of Chairperson of Climate Change Committee. In 2024, she was once again appointed Chairperson of Climate Change Committee, where she has continued to lead key legislative efforts on climate resilience, environmental protection, and sustainable urban development. Please welcome Ms. Munazza Hassan. Last but not the least, we have a policymaker deeply committed to governance, sustainability, and disaster risk reduction, Sardar Muhammad Awais Dareshak. Elected to the Punjab Assembly first time in 2018, he has worked extensively with the United Nations in governance, health, and education. Coming from a distinguished political family with deep legislative experience, he currently serves as the convener of the Green and Disaster Risk Reduction Caucus in Punjab Assembly, where he advocates for policies that promote green infrastructure and mitigate environmental risks. Please welcome Sardar Muhammad Awais Dareshak. We will now begin by requesting Madam Mariam Aurangzeb to highlight the case study on the initiatives taken by Chief Minister Punjab, Mariam Nawaz Sahiba, and the Punjab government. And we would like her to highlight what legislative actions have been pivotal in these efforts regarding climate change and environmental protection. Madam, please, if you would like to start. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Sarah, do you have a hand mic also, or it's just... Thank you very much, Sarah. First of all, I would like to thank and welcome all the delegates who have traveled to Lahore, Pakistan, to attend this very, very important conference. And also, I would like to congratulate the Speaker of the Punjab Assembly, Malik Ahmed Khan, who has, I know, worked really hard to put this all together and to give all of us the opportunity to participate in this important conference. And of course, my fellow member Provincial Assembly, I welcome you also, my colleague at the National Assembly, Mrs. Munazza Hassan, who's my co-panelist, and also the Dareshak Saab, and I also welcome our international guests from Malaysia to be part of this panel. The panel, of course, is climate change, climate vulnerabilities, and also the urbanization, urban city management planning, and also climate resilient cities. The topic, of course, is something that we can speak hours and hours upon because it is multi-sectoral, it is cross-cutting, and also it has many dimensions when it comes to climate vulnerabilities. I will focus mostly on Punjab province in Pakistan. The Prime Minister of Pakistan also at the national level has worked, and also the Climate Ministry in formulating and compiling a very robust national action plan for climate resilience. Also carbon trading, carbon financing is something that is being worked upon at the national level, the legal framework. Punjab, of course, as we all know, and you've been hearing for last few days, is, of course, no exception when it comes to climate resilience and climate vulnerabilities. Most urbanized, fastest urbanized province, and also the cities in Punjab, 130 million population, and the divide, of course, is 37% urban and 63% semi-rural, semi-urban and rural population in Punjab. And when it comes to water shortages, when it comes to intense climate vulnerabilities, biodiversity, climate resilience. As I said, Punjab is no exception. So I'll, s- I'll briefly narrate what we've been doing after assuming office in last 10 months under the dynamic leadership of the Chief Minister, Mariam Nawaz, who's leading the climate resilience vision in Punjab and across Punjab. Climate change, as we all know, is not a very, cannot be seen in silo or in isolation with bordering provinces, with bordering cities, with the bordering region, with the bordering countries, neighbors. It is integrated, it is comprehensive, it is something that we all need to work together if we want to change the course, and also has an impact on humanity, I would say, touching each and everyone's life across the ecosystem. So after assuming office, first of all, the development planning of Punjab province has seen transition and a paradigm shift when it comes to climate resilience policies and urban planning. And to begin with, the Chief Minister Punjab has for the first time introduced solid waste management in urban and rural cities across Punjab. It was previously present in only 2 cities in Punjab, but now, alhamdulillah, in our last 11 months, every city, every district, every division has now a complete end-to-end solid waste management framework for, looking at the urban solid waste management planning. So that's something, it's a flagship project of the Chief Minister, and we all know that Sustainable Development Goals has a lot of integration with solid waste management and associated health impacts, air quality impacts also. Then in the climate lens, I would say that for the first time, the development planning has been seen from very integrated approach, cross-sectoral approach, multi-sectoral approach that we say. It's said it's easier said than done, because we all know that we all say across the globe that it should be integrated, it should be inclusive, it should be trickle down to the local level, to the union council level, to the local government level. But when it comes to real implementation, it is always a challenge, because the sectors talking to each other is a challenge, the sectors communicating to each other is a challenge, and when it comes to policy making for a multi-sectoral subject like climate change, first of all, it is a challenge, but then taking this challenge head on in last 10 months at the Planning and Development Ministry department, we now have a project management unit where all the sectors sit together, they plan together, they allocate resources together, so that we know that, if you're investing into green technologies, if we're investing into climate resilient cities, urban planning, we all have to do this evidence-based decision making together. So that's a complete paradigm shift in our development planning this year, and we've seen results already. When it comes to the adaptation and mitigation of the climate resilient policies, of course, it's also head-on urban planning, rural planning, infrastructure planning, green technology planning. Mass transit also is going through a complete transition from traditional petrol vehicles to electric vehicles, and we've seen already the electric buses have started arriving in Punjab, in Lahore for the first time. So sectoral wise in industries, a complete mapping of the industry was done initially. So we divided this 1 year when we assumed office into 3 phases: short term, medium term, and long term. Short term was mostly legislative changes, amendments, hand holding, stakeholder engagement, citizens engagement, awareness raising when it comes to climate change. And also we are going through Punjab and Pakistan, and the cities in the region are going through air quality crisis at the moment. And Lahore, of course, as we see, is the center stage. But this year, in last 5 months, we've seen peaks in other cities of the provinces also. And in the region as well, we've seen peaks, unprecedented peaks this year. So the first 3 months was to create an enabling environment to work together, all the sectors together, for coming together to do this climate resilience planning. So lots of legislative and institutional changes and amendments were done. Environmental Protection Agency, my Director General of EPA is sitting with you in the audience, who's worked really hard in complete overhauling institutional framework amendments. We've changed the Punjab Environmental Act after 1997 to include lots of legislative reforms when it comes to air quality standards and regulations, surveillance, and of course, then the impact of the air quality. So this was Environmental Protection Agency. For the first time in EPA, we have a multi-sectoral desks now: industry, agriculture, transport, health, education, and this is now housed in Environmental Protection Agency. So we see it from a completely multi-sectoral lens when it comes to planning and development and also environmental protection. Industry, we've mapped a complete industrial landscape of Punjab, and there is a plan to shift the industry. I wish we had graphics on the screen, which we prepared for all of you, because if we can, Father, if we can also start, just the graphics on the screen. So in industry, for the first time, the brick kilns, I can say with conviction that in Lahore division, not a single brick kiln is working other than the zigzag technology. And we've also QR coded the brick kilns, and it is centrally linked to a monitoring system that we have in Environmental Protection Agency. For the first time, intense technology intervention has been taking place in terms of surveillance through drone cameras and safe city cameras, drone for industrial smoke and safe city for vehicular emission. We've introduced that. So in industry, then again, biogas, we have a complete pilot project in Lahore, which has been completed, and now the plan is to have one biogas plant in every divisional headquarter across Punjab. Then also environmental control systems on the industrial units are being installed. The government has given 2 billion interest-free loan to the small industries to have these environmental control systems installed at their industrial unit. Lots of pyrolysis plants have been demolished, changed, and compliance has been done to, and we have data and numbers because we were compiling data for the first time in Punjab when it comes to surveillance and monitoring also. There were only 3 monitors, air quality monitors in Punjab. They were installed in 2007. And other than that, we did not have any air quality monitors, so data was just completely absent from the decision making. So we, for the first time, again, under the leadership of the Chief Minister, till December 31st, we have 30 monitors, air quality, both mobile and permanent ones installed, and the target is to have 60 monitors till March 31st. So now, Punjab government, for the first time, did a very daring thing that we shared data with the media. We shared data with the stakeholder, with the industry, the sectors, and then did our planning for smog season. The second phase was taking everyone along, both the industry, the sectors, and the departments at the government level. Punjab is going through an intense regulation in zero plastic single use, and the plastic is banned in Punjab, and that's also happened for the first time. Thirdly, in agriculture, the Chief Minister vision, of course, of e-mechanization of the agriculture sector, we are witnessing in terms of technology intervention, but for super seeders, for the first time, to curtail and to stop stubble burning across Punjab during 2 seasons, wheat and rice. The Chief Minister gave a very intense subsidy to the local farmers, where we gave 60% the government paid for the super seeder and 40% was paid by the farmer. And we've seen evidence-based that the districts where there was intense stubble burning because of the use of super seeder mechanization, we've seen a reduction in stubble burning across Punjab also. And we do have satellite vision, the graphics to support our claim. Thirdly, in transport, massive transition, complete paradigm shift of the Chief Minister. We are converting Lahore division to completely on electric vehicle hybrid, replacing two-wheelers and three-wheelers through our Clean Air Punjab Clean Air Program, funded by World Bank. That was the first project again. So complete transition of e-mass transit system across Punjab also. The 27, as I already said, 28 buses have started arriving. They're already in Lahore, and we're converting, inshallah, we'll be doing this in next 3 to 4 years, complete conversion of Lahore division to electric vehicles. Then industry, of course, we see fugitive dust because we have seen peaks during the days when the weather conditions were stable, when the weather conditions were suitable, but there were peaks in Lahore and in specific areas. So the evidence showed that, the fugitive dust was the main reason. So when we were in China, in Beijing with the Chief Minister, and Beijing, of course, as we all know, is a case study around the world, where they've converted 114 bad days, air quality days, to 4 air quality days in 1 year. So that's something that we all need to learn, and we are just, we are the ones who are, learning the practices. The fugitive dust, we saw that around the construction sites there were water sprinklers of the recycled water. So that's what we did after coming back to Pakistan. And now, alhamdulillah, by the notification of the environmental protection agencies, all the private housing societies, private construction sites, also the government construction sites have started having these water sprinklers around the construction sites. Secondly, the Plan for Pakistan Green Campaign for Forestation, and then a complete green ring around Lahore in terms of plantation is being developed in master planning of Lahore. Lahore has a forest cover of about 3% when the international standard is 40%. So we do have a gap of about 37%. So looking at this data and evidence, the green master planning of Lahore is underway, and the plan is ready to be implemented. Then energy sector, a complete drive on conversion of solar energy, the Chief Minister program on giving free solar panels to consumers below the 200 consumption of megawatts, and then finance program 200 and above consumption of megawatts. We're embarking into a journey of biogas plants, as I said, and biorefinery for recycling stubble that we burn into meaningful use. Then lastly, I would say that we are heavily investing into green technology and green infrastructure. All the roads, more than 900 main roads and arteries are being constructed in Lahore at the moment, and every road has now a shoulder bed of trees wherever a new road is built by policy. Every project planning in a development program now has 1% for climate resilience and climate vulnerability of that program by policy. It's part of the policy now. Then, of course, as I said, Punjab is not exception from vulnerable ecosystem, climate-induced disaster. We've seen floods in recent past, and we have now in place, with the help of PDMAs, disaster management authorities, provincial disaster management authorities, complete plan in urban cities to mitigate flood effects, and also adaptation and investing into the technologies and also the infrastructure for flood mitigation. Green industry, I've spoken about, zero waste vision of the Chief Minister of Punjab, I have spoken about in detail. And then everything is related to, because health impact of smog and also of bad air quality, we've seen for the first time in last 5 months, the data from hospitals show that there has been decrease in 11% during 4 months, the patients during the smog season, which is about 98,000 less patients in hospitals during last smog season. And the wind direction, the weather patterns in the region, as I said, it is transboundary, it transcends borders, bad air quality. So it's not just urban cities planning, it also is rural city planning, regional, and it also, of course, is between countries, the impact of India's interventions. We've seen that, during the wind directions towards Pakistan, towards this corridor, we also had peaks of more than 2,000 AQIs level in last 5 months. So we've written letter to the Foreign Office for starting dialogue with India when it comes to climate diplomacy. And, that is something that we are looking forward to, because this is a threat to humanity. This is a threat to our future generation. And climate change is not just a buzzword, which it was in 90s. It is a reality now, and we all need to understand. We all need to be sensitive about it. So lastly, what we did was we engaged the citizens. We engaged the stakeholders. The, the larger part of our policy was awareness raising amongst the citizens about climate resilience, vulnerabilities, and also this impact of smog and bad air quality on health. Health Ministry also department did a spectacular job when it comes to mobile health units, clinic on wheels, the initiative of the Chief Minister again, where the clinics were visiting into districts, into divisions, into union councils during the season. There was emergency declared in hospitals, and also preemptive measures in the last phase when it was smog management and bad air quality management was taking place. So awareness raising, and then we've seen in other countries that this is, of course, policy, administration, regulation, surveillance, monitoring. We all do have that. But unless the behavior changes, unless the mindset changes towards climate vulnerabilities and bad air qualities, nothing, no policy can make a difference. So we are integrating that into curriculum, the formal education, the informal education, and skill development into green technologies, into green curriculum, into green infrastructure, and the scholarship program of the Chief Minister, where she's giving scholarships to the first year, second year, third year, and fourth year students across Punjab. Climate change related degrees are part of that scholarship program, so that we do have experts, we do have indigenous expertise, we do have local expertise when it comes to mitigating, adaptation, and management. And also intense awareness raising program has been started with local communities, because replacing two-wheelers is not an easy task in Punjab, especially in Lahore division, and replacing the traditional vehicles, because of course economics comes into play also. And countries like Pakistan, where we struggle, it's a developing country, but if we do have long-term impacts in mind, cost benefit in mind, opportunity cost in mind of these initiatives, I think then we would realize that this is important today, not tomorrow. And thank you very much. I can see lots of multi-sectoral people sitting here in the audience as well. So we all together, the inclusivity is the cornerstone of Chief Minister's programs, initiatives, policies, projects that she undertakes. And equity, of course, is another focus area. So without inclusivity and without equity, climate change vulnerabilities and impacts are also incomplete. So with all the stakeholders, with all the experts, research, academia, media, we have embarked on this journey, and I have a firm belief that with all these interventions, policy frameworks, legislative frameworks, and reforms, we will, inshallah, be the second case study after Beijing in the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Madam, for your valuable insight. Madam has rightly pointed out that climate change is a reality now, and we all need to accept it and take measures. Madam has mentioned that every city, every district has an end-to-end solid waste management framework. The project, which is very impressive, the project management unit, which has been developed in PND, focusing on climate change. Then the use of electric vehicles in Punjab, that's also an excellent initiative. And the initiatives being taken for smog control. Also free solar panels for industry, the biorefinery for recycling, and investment in green technology. I think a lot of credit goes to this government for taking this initiative. I would like to welcome a panelist who joined us recently as part of our panel discussion. The Honorable Chaudhry Lateef Akbar, Speaker of the Legislative Assembly of Azad Jammu and Kashmir. First elected in 2020, he brings a strong legal background and a deep interest in legislative reforms that address environmental challenges in urban areas of AJK. His insights on regional challenges and legislative responses will be invaluable to today's discussion. Please welcome Honorable Chaudhry Lateef Akbar Sahab.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Since Madam Senior Minister Maria Aurangzeb Sahiba informed us that she has to attend a very important meeting shortly, so I wanted to request if we could take questions from you first before moving on. Yes. So let's take questions which are focused towards Madam Maria Aurangzeb. Mehwish Sultana MPA.
Thank you very much, Ji. Thank you, Madam Mariam, for your very detailed information and insight details. I would like to ask a quick question. How can Pakistan address water scarcity and drought to protect agriculture and food security, as there is no rain for long and weather pattern is changing? Also, what role can regional corporations like CPA play in managing shared water reserves under escalating climate impacts?
Thank you, Mavish, for asking a very insightful question of water shortage and drought. Of course, our water use practices in agriculture and more water efficient practices, e-mechanization, moving from water intensive crops, because of course we've seen monsoon shifts in Punjab, we've seen rainfall shifts in Punjab, and rise in temperature, 1% increase we've witnessed, and so this all, of course, has an ecosystem approach to it. Then also the underwater tables are also depleting. So the solar program that we have of water tube wells, we have planned it in a way that where there is a water shortage, under table water depleting, we are avoiding that. And so urban management planning, urban planning, rural planning, or agriculture practices has an impact also. Water use practices in general has an impact also. So the Chief Minister vision of e-mechanization will, of course, I think, because we're an agri-based economy, Punjab is the food basket of the country as well. So we all realize that. So it is very much part of our development programs also. And yes, the regional cooperation, best practices, lesson learns around the region are, of course, very, are complementing our initiatives also, but a lot to learn as well. Because we've seen water deficient countries, how they have come out of drought situations and have also planned for futuristic floods and drought mitigations as well. So, and we do have pledges and we do have international agreements and cooperations with other countries at the national level. At the national level also, we've seen back in 2022, when we saw this intense flooding in Pakistan, in South Punjab, Sindh area, and so how the international corporations, how the international countries, donors, partners worked with us by introducing, the best practices around the world. And now, after that flood season, the practices in place are towards mitigating and managing the floods situation in future.
Good day, Madam Speaker, Madam Minister. I'm Maktoum Fakhar Zaman, a member of the Sindh Assembly. And my question to you, first of all, I would like to congratulate you and your government and your Chief Minister, who's been working really diligently and wholeheartedly for the people of Punjab and particularly Pakistan as well. My question to you would be the EV, introduction of EV and promoting electric vehicles in the province of Punjab. How do you manage to install charging stations and charging ports across the country for the general public to make it viable for the general public and make it sustainable as well?
Thank you very much. Before I answer your question reminded me of something that I forgot in my talk about vehicles. For the first time in Punjab, we are introducing vehicle fitness regime, because there was none in Pakistan, and we have, through our VIC station, the fitness certification stations, and we started this with our government vehicles to begin with our chief minister vehicle also, fitness certificates, and we're doing this with the private sector, private workshops. Again, the chief minister and the Punjab government has given intense subsidy to the workshops to install the infrastructure. Coming to your question about electric vehicle, it was a very intriguing thing that what comes first, the charging stations or the vehicles. So this was a difficult decision to make, but we started off with these 27 buses, and at the national level the tariffs had decreased also for EVs and for charging stations for electricity, and our plans to have these charging stations at metro bus stations also, and also at different hotspots across Lahore to begin with, because the buses have arrived in Lahore, and we have depots that we have installed the recharging stations and swappable battery options that we have because when we are embarking on replacement of two-wheelers and three-wheelers, so because the price of the battery is the price of the vehicle. It's almost 70% price of the vehicle. So that was also a challenge. So a complete comprehensive landscape has been developed, where to place our charging stations, swappable battery stations, and also for these mass transit vehicles, including the EV buses, we do have depots of recharging stations for these particular buses. Around Lahore, we do have one in Kalasha Kaku, we do have one around Gulberg area, we have one in Raiwind also that we have done for these new buses, and where the new buses depots are. Yes, the expanse is wide for this, and but I believe that when the private sector will shift, government is the largest, biggest sector, we say. So the vision also of the Chief Minister is in our next development program planning, the procurement would be on EV for government, new two-wheelers and also four-wheelers. So that's how of course, it's a rechargeable ecosystem approach that we're doing, the entire ecosystem around it. Yes.
One of our foreign dignitaries wants to ask a question, so can you please?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Madam Senior Minister, I have a question here. I'm a speaker from Johor State Assembly. Do you have planning to support accelerating adoption of solar and wind technologies in Lahore? For example, will you support tax credit to help business sectors and consumers cover the cost of transitioning to solar and wind? Thank you.
We are already, we've developed a green credit program for Punjab province, where we are not just incentivizing the sectors who are converting onto the green technology, including the solar, but also subsidizing them, for hand-holding them for this transition to the green technology. So it's just not the incentive, but also subsidy and also the infrastructure that they need. For example, the Chief Minister's solar program for the consumers above 200 megawatt of usage. She has introduced an interest-free loan program for conversion to the solar. And then under 200, it's a free solar program that we are giving to the consumers whose consumption is below 200 megawatt. So it's a complete hand-holding, enabling environment, enabler, and also the instruments that we are helping the citizens, the sectors, and also the government sector departments as well when it comes to conversion to the solar technology.
Just take a last question now and then move on to the next speaker.
Thank you very much. My name is Takdees Gilani. I'm Minister for Small Industries, Travel and Trade in Azad Kashmir. First of all, I want to congratulate Chief Minister Sahiba and you for the kind of governance you have here, the kind of initiatives you are taking in, And above all, your climate background, internationally known and recognized, we expect that you should do something for AJK also, because we were green but now turning into brown. So you see, when you talk about the forestation, and the main source of Pakistan is also from AJK as in terms of water resources. So whether you talk about solid waste management, whether you talk about forestation, carbon share, there's no awareness at all. To be honest, we copy everything from Punjab, and I would request Chief Minister and your good self to pay special attention and kindly, if you can extend this program or awareness, some campaigns, and because you are a known person on climate, we would like that you should do something for AJK also, and the detail will be by our speaker who is going to talk about the issues we are facing. So I would request you, is there any thing which you can do for AJK, because your sources are also coming from AJK, especially for forestation and carbon share and also the water. So the floor is with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. First of all, I'm no expert, and I'm just, there's a humble contribution to the sector, and my previous background, of course, in climate change. AJK in Punjab also, and in Pakistan, other provinces, as I said, have seen peaks. Aptabad had a bad air quality indicators in last 5 months, and also Karachi, we've seen bad air quality this season. Then, of course, southern Punjab for the first time. AJK is, I'm not sure about the data, that what were the AQI levels during this season. I can surely find out and see. But of course, our awareness campaign is for the entire country, because it runs on the electronic media, it runs on the social media, and the print media, which of course has a footprint in all the provinces across the country. So, but as I said, we're always there. I can come visit AJK. I have a very good, cordial relationship with your Prime Minister also, with lots of ministers as well in AJK. We keep visiting also. The Chief Minister also is planning to go to AJK as well. Her scholarship program, she's just announced yesterday that she's introducing that to AJK also, Gilgit-Baltistan as well. So it's, as I said, it has to be integrated. We all have to come together if we really have to fight this menace. So I'm always here in my humble capacity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Minister. With this, the Madam has set the floor, I think, for the next speaker. I would request Honorable Speaker from Malaysia, Selangor, Malaysia, Lau Weng San, to please speak. If you want to go first, it's not a problem.
You called my name.
Oh, I had given an introduction of the speaker, but you can go first. It's okay.
As you like.
Right. Okay. So, Honorable Speaker from Azad Jammu and Kashmir, please
Okay, thank you.
start.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Honorable speakers, esteemed colleagues, distinguished guests, Senior Minister, Government of Punjab, Mariam Aurangzeb Sahiba. It's a great honor and privilege to address the esteemed gathering on the critical topic of climate change and sustainable cities. It's very important, and I think the Senior Minister of Punjab has rightly pointed out certain things and measures. How can we change the climate? We contribute in changing the climate issues. But today, we not just as a policymaker, but as a guardian of our shared future, entrusted with the responsibility of creating sustainable Asian tomorrow for our people. Now the AJK, like rest of Pakistan, has definitely we face a great threat of climate change. Our region, unique geography characterized by its breathtaking highlands, lush valleys, and vibrant urban centers, also make it extremely vulnerable to climate-induced disasters. So in AJK, we face definitely a lot of rainfall, cloudbursts, drought, in Pakistan. I have just seen on the TV that 40% of the rain has not been in this area. It is short of were short of 40% of the rain in this season. So definitely it will go to drought. We will go where the water sources that will be shorted, and all the rivers, as has been mentioned earlier by one of my colleagues, they come from Azad Jammu and Kashmir or Gilgit-Baltistan. The river Sindh starts from Sindh-Baltistan. River Jhelum comes from there. River Neelam comes from there. The river Tavi, also Chenab, they are also comes from Jammu and Kashmir. So it's very important, I think, to the government of Pakistan, and particularly the government of Punjab and the government of Sindh should concentrate on these areas. As has been mentioned earlier by my colleagues, it's very important that if AJK is worstly affected by the climate change, and we have at this time we have only the source of water is the spring water, because our population mostly is on in the hilly areas. So we are facing a lot of water shortage in those areas, and the snow. This is very important about it. The snowfall in the Jammu and Kashmir is this time is almost negligible. Where we have 12 to 30 feet snow, this time we are only 2 feet or 3 feet snow, which is already melted with the heat. Oh, this only result not only the water shortage in summer this year, as AJK is the main supplier of water to different provinces of Pakistan. So this is very important. I want to bring the notice into the notice of Senior Minister of Punjab, that the government of Punjab, if anybody is representing Sindh, the government of Sindh, both should invest in the reforestation, in the climate change in the Jammu and Kashmir, Gilgit-Baltistan and KP. Because very important, if we don't have the waters over there, then there is no water in Punjab, and you will not get any water sources in Sindh as well. So we will focus on reforestation of Azad Jammu and Kashmir, GB and KP. It is very important for Pakistan economy and for Pakistan itself. The most important is that we should at least, the people of those areas, they cut very valuable trees in those areas just for the heat purposes, for the cooking, for all their uses. So we should have some, we should invest over there. They should be given some LPGs, or they should be given, there is a lot of potential of hydroelectric in those areas. So why not to have a small hydro powers to produce electricity, to give them free of cost, so that the reforestation, the forestation should not be cut over there. So this is very important. I think the government of Punjab should keep in their, the government of Sindh should keep in their budgets special education for reforestation and climate change in the Jammu and Kashmir, GB and KP as well. This is my request to you, all of you. So the most, we have, we have a ground burst in Jammu and Kashmir just because of cutting of the trees and all these other things contributed to this. Severe floods come in Punjab and Sindh and KPK. So this is again, this is a very important thing, particularly the floods in 2010 and 2022. So this not only affected the rural areas, but also affected the urban areas of some of the parts of the Sindh, most of the part of the Sindh, and most of the part of some part of the Punjab as well. So there are almost, as I have been told, that shift of weather that squeezed the winter, spring and autumn extended the summer for 45 days in the last 60 years. So if this is the case, then the glacier will melt and there will be flood definitely in these areas, and ultimately it will be disaster for all of it. The population growth is definitely one of the big factors which has to be controlled, and I think it's a very important factor, because the people needs their needs, they have to cut it somewhere else. So we will have to control the population as well with this climate change as well. So most of the things, as you have been already mentioned, definitely these are very important. But lastly, I would like to say that we should have, we are standing at a very critical juncture. Decision we make today will define the fate of future cities, environment, our people, and IG Council to serve the catalyst for concrete action for the following priorities: strengthening environmental goals at the local and national level. Number two, embed climate resilience into urban planning framework. Mobilize community and foster international cooperation for clean air cities. Together, we could transform Pakistan and AJK into a beacon of sustainability, clean air, is a city, sustainable living are not luxury but necessities that demand bold legislative action. Let us remember that fight against climate change began with us, the policymakers, by legislating wisely, innovating boldly, inspiring action collectively. We ensure that our cities remain not only livable today but also sustainable and resilient for the future generation. Thank you very much.
Insights. And now we'll take 3 questions from Honorable Speaker, and then we'll move on to the next panelist, please. Yes, we have speaker from Sri Lanka.
Sorry, I want to ask a question from the previous presentation, Madam Senior Minister. It is glad that to hear that the plastic is banned in Punjab. And then how you raise the public awareness to overcome to this issue and the measures taken for the sectoral integration, and to what extent practically implemented up to now in this Punjab this program, and what are the constraints at the moment if there is any pitfalls of implementing this legislation.
I wish I had left before this difficult question. No. The plastic use, of course, banning plastic is always very difficult because one, the affordability, the awareness about both the supply side with the manufacturers and also the demand side with the consumer. So it was always a mismatch. There are examples where we ban single-use plastic, but we do not stop the manufacturing. And on the other side, we raise awareness of the consumers not to use single-use plastic. So it had to be together. So first thing that we did was, one, the legislative and administrative interventions and amendments. First, for the 3 months, we sat with the industry and we gave the vision of the Chief Minister of the present government and how to include and integrate the different, I think it's 75 microns now, Imran? Yes. So how to get to that 75 microns level was a task with the manufacturers. And of course, there was no registration of manufacturers in Punjab, the plastic the plastic manufacturing industry. So we mapped that first. We started talking to them. We started telling them for 3 months. The 4th month, it was complete administrative, intervention, where we and then, of course, when we started talking to the manufacturers, the awareness campaign was already in place for the consumers and also for the citizens, people who use plastic. And then there are big retail chains that we have in Pakistan, like in Punjab, Al-Fatah, there's stores, departmental stores. We started from there also by raising their awareness. So it was both manufacturing side also and the consumption side as well. Awareness was very intense on electronic media, social media, print media, still going on because it's an uphill task because it's a conversion of a attitude, a practice. So that takes time. So we took it that way. We did not shut everything off. But now, alhamdulillah, at the shops, retail stores, our parliamentary secretary, who I think is not here at the moment, Kamal, is taking this head on. She visits the markets, she visits the shops, she visits the departmental stores, and also looks after the awareness campaign with our DG EPA. EPA, the Environmental Protection Squad, we call it Hawkeye. Squad, they are in markets now and for surveillance. They inspect, they go to visits, and then all is documented. So it's taking them along, engaging them into dialogue, and we've seen results. And we have just confiscated a full truck a week back, and it was an uphill task to do that as well. But I think there is an awareness now, there is a realization now, because if you look at this Mahmood Booty, about 10 kilometers from here, it's full of, it's a landfill, it's a natural landfill site. There's no landfill site in Punjab, by the way. This is new solid waste management program that the Chief Minister has introduced from end-to-end solid waste solution. Now we have landfill sites in planning at the moment and solid waste sites at the moment. So it's all plastic. Water bodies, wetlands, lakes, everything is full of plastic. So there is a realization now. Awareness has played a very, very important role. But I think moreover, the engagement with the supply side was very meaningful and it was very effective. Yes. And then the other architectural planning, you said, there's a program going on conversion of the state buildings to solar, all the buildings, but in architecture planning, we're still, we're thinking of including that for the new state buildings, but the land use planning and also the rules that for, I don't know if you've been to Murree, the hilly area, hill station in Punjab, and so there we have introduced a complete, land use planning order, which we've done in last 8 months with the architectural plans, with the landscaping, with the size of the buildings, the fronts, everything is now by law. They have to adhere to that framework of, and we, of course, we plan to replicate that in other parts of the province also.
Thank you, madam. I would also, in between, like to intervene and appreciate the audience who's very intently participating in this panel discussion. So thank you for that. Do we have any question for Honorable Speaker AJK? Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for the very informative session. But in my opinion, one thing that I want to bring light to is the housing societies that are increasing in Punjab, especially in Lahore, day by day, and they're cutting a large number of trees that is directly impacting the environment and climate. What about that?
Thank you very much. Of course, housing societies, very important area, and we've engaged with them also in last 10 months. It's not just the plantation and the green cover, it's also the covered area in terms of LDA rules, Lahore Development Authority rules, which we are thinking, and it's very much on the plan to change that as well, because if we have to target 40% green cover in Lahore, there has to be a substantial change in Lahore Development Authority's policy framework. And then, of course, the housing societies green cover that they, get the NOC after adhering to the percentage that they will cover with plantation. That has been, again, with the Environmental Protection Agency, a complete surveillance on that as well. And we've engaged with them to cover that area for plantation under the Plant for Pakistan campaign of the Chief Minister. And with this the housing society is under construction. The fugitive dust also was a disaster, I would say. So with this technology of water sprinklers that we have in place now, it is making a difference with them. I think everything boils down and culminates into how you engage with the stakeholder and how you make the sector realize their individual responsibility for collective good, for social good, for public good. So that's something, and when they see the government taking this as a lead in their decision making, in their resource allocation, in their planning, so they do realize their individual responsibility also. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to our next panelist. Honorable Speaker Lau, could you please share Selenga's experience in implementing sustainable urban initiatives and what legislative measures have been most effective in promoting clean air and resilience in your city? Thank you.
you hear me? Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the very in-depth explanations and introductions. I think I can speak from here. Yeah, thank you. Uh, thank you. Well, I think one of the very major important changes that I have undertaken since my speakerships in 2023 was to revamp and set up a complete new select committee. In Selangor, we don't have that much of caucus, because caucus could be regarded as an rather unofficial setup or grouping amongst members of parliaments or state legislators on certain issues. But in Selangor, we turned our visions into actions by forming a select committee. And one of the select committee that I think I can share with you is the formation of select committee of well-being, which covers climate change and sustainability issues. This select committee was headed by also a female. Coincidentally, the name of the female representative is also Mariam. Yeah, Bon Mariam. Yeah, Muhammad Bon Mariam. 2 out of 7 of the members, including the chairperson, are actually females. And they have conducted a table last year, the first report on their work on climate change. In Selangor, the issues of climate change that we are facing is about the same like in Punjab and Pakistan, as in Lahore. But the angle and the magnitude is different. Of course, we don't have a situation where we have air quality index of more than 200, 300 that frequent. At the most, I think it's around 50 to 100. Most of the time it's below 50, but there were times during my 3 terms assemblyman, there were times where we have to deal with cross-border haze produced by oil palm plantations from Sumatra, Indonesia, and also some localized ground fire, which have contributed a lot. We have, because of this, been prompted to set up a lot of agencies and environmental protections team to monitor the kind of ground fire or on pit swamp in our state. Selangor also faced recently severe flood problem. In the past, we have also faced severe drought, even though that is not as often as we want to avoid. But all this has turned our state government and our legislature a lot more sensitive to issues related to climate change. And that's the reason that prompted me to form this select committee, because I think at the end of the day, we must present and show to the people that the state legislature is proactive in engaging the citizens and government agencies in order to ensure that all the monies and programs set up by both the state and the federal government are in line with our vision to turn Selangor into a green state. After all, I think I would like to share with all of you that sustainable issues on sustainability and climate change is not only about preserving our environment, but it's also about creating job opportunities and investment for the country to move on. Just now, I was delighted to be notified that there are ambitions to bring in more electrical vehicles in Pakistan. I think that's a good effort. Of course, in Malaysia and Selangor, electric vehicles is slowly occupying market share, and we hope that with more and more electric vehicles, especially electrical motorbikes, the level of pollutions in our home state can be reduced. I have seen this improvement in many major cities in China, but I think the kind of improvement is probably due to the conversions from conventional combustion motorbikes to electrical motorbikes. And then this is a very, it is an effort that offers us the fastest way to clean up our air quality, because motorbikes almost emits a lot of what do you call it, the kind of pollutants that we think we need to tackle it. I think in Selangor it's slowly taking pace, but nevertheless, the government needs to do a lot more. The major obstacle that we are facing in Selangor is that many of the efforts and the legislations are actually originated by the federal government. So before the 2022 general elections, most of the efforts undertaken by the state governments are actually not in close collaborations with the federal government. We hope that with the 2022 general elections and 2023 state elections, with the formations of unity government, when both the state and the federal government are under the same political leaderships, there will be more collaborations and cooperations in terms of environmental protections. In Selangor, nevertheless, we have, I would like to share with you, we have actually presented the first Rancangan Selangor Pertama, or the first Selangor plan from 2020 to 2025. Last year, we have a full debate on all aspects and programs proposed by Rancangan Selangor 1 or RS1. And one of the major issues that we have identified is environmental protections and climate change. The Selangor state government had in the past formed a climate change adaptation center called Iklim Selangor. My select committee has conducted a hearing on this setup, and we have proposed that the state government needs to do more to double up or even triple up our effort in making sure that all the government programs and fundings are utilized to benefit and to make sure that the targets and the objectives are fully met. At the moment, there are a lot more constraints, but slowly we are doing our parts to ensure that the environment in Selangor are protected. Now in Selangor, it's very interesting. We are the most advanced state in terms of economic development. Selangor contributed more than 25% to the national GDP. I think it was followed by the state of Penang. The Deputy Speaker of Penang is here. I think your state is contributing around 11%. On the third, the Federal Territory of Kuala Lumpur is behind Selangor. Penang is number 3. On the fourth is actually Johor. The Speaker of Johor is also here. And on the fifth, I think, is the state of Sarawak. The Secretary of the Sarawak Assembly is also here. So Selangor has got this kind of, people are always joking, we have got the best and also the worst, because we are one of the most advanced states. So a lot of times we are dealing with the most complicated issues in Selangor, be it educations, environment protections, traffic congestions, etc. and etc. I would say the first effort, one of the most important effort that we need to look at climate change is to strictly follow the 5 key areas that we have identified. I think this is very important. May I share with you these 5 key areas? Because a lot of times when I attended forums and conference on climate change, the angles, if you are observant enough, can be diversified and spread into many, many different topics, which makes it difficult to be focused. Number 1, I think we need to talk about resilience and disaster management, because climate change is also about floods, fire, bushfire, drought, and all these are disasters. But we need to put in some efforts on how to build up our resilience. Sometimes we cannot avoid if there's a flood or if there's a fire, but we can plan and make sure that we are resilient to this type of disaster or natural disasters. Now, some of the strategy, like I think it's good for me to share with you by enhancing preparedness and rapid response for disaster risk and vulnerabilities in communications, coordinations, and governance. Number two, another focus area is about waste management. We also discussed a little bit about waste management in Selangor. We, of course, still rely on landfill, but we are already started constructing our first waste-to-energy plant in Selangor. With the help of the technologies from mainland China, this has already been undertaken by our state-owned companies in 3 locations. It is currently under construction, and we hope that by its completions, we will be able to provide more options for local councils and the people of Selangor to settle the problem of the waste management. I think I just read from the newspaper and from the media that I think the state of Selangor and Penang has officially joined the National Legal Framework on Solid Waste Management. I think that will make the issues of handling solid waste management in Selangor a lot more comprehensive. Low carbon state, we mentioned about electrical vehicle. I think as much as interest we want to put into setting up or diversify consumer choices for electrical vehicles, we must also think of ways to improve the usage of public transportation. I'm sure you must agree with me, because public transportations will really cut down a lot of carbon emissions. We need to think of ways of how to improve along it. And at the same time, I think we need to also build up our technologies. I think Pakistan is has got a huge potentials in terms of engineering and technologies. Maybe we can collaborate on these matters on how to build up a better transportation system and engineering system for a more cleaner environment. They're also about, we are also talking about biodiversity and natural resources. At the moment, the national target is to set up, is to ensure that 50% of our land size are covered by forest reserve. In Selangor, we are still trailing behind 30%. And Selangor is the first state in Malaysia to order a moratorium, a blanket order to ban deforestation. We hope by doing that, the urbanization process will be realigned to be more environmental friendly. But nevertheless, we are facing with a very huge task and objective, because Selangor being the most developed and advanced state in Malaysia, we need to protect our environment. At the same time, we also need to have some lands for housing, for agricultural activities, to ensure that sufficient food security are put into place to ensure that our country is not deprived of any food shortage. I think these are the things that I would like to share with you.
Sir, sorry to intervene, but we're very short of time, so if you could just wind up in 30 seconds, please.
Yeah, I think the Selangor experience is something that we can discuss and further explore about. The setting up of the select committee is one thing that I think we can be responding to this issue in a more proactive manner. The select committee meets frequently every year, and from the investigations of the select committee, there will be reports, and we will be able to ensure that all the plans tabled by the state government and the federal government as of now will always be put into checks, reality checks, to ensure that the funds are put into good use for the benefit of the people. I would also love to share with you the experience, and if at all we can have some of the slides and papers presented by other speakers, I think we will be able to, the Selangor State will be more than willing to analyze it, and we will work out a way to build up more collaborative programs between our legislative and your legislatives to ensure that we can share our best practice and experience for the benefit of our people. After all, a legislature is not a rubber stamp. We want to bring up the voices of the people, and we want to ensure that if there's a wrong by the executive, we must point it out in time so that they will have the opportunity to correct it. And at the end of the day, what we want to see is that if there's a good plan by the people, by the government, it will be and must be implemented for the benefit of the people. So with that, I would like to wrap up my speech, and I wish to share with you in private some of the best practices we have. When we are also eager to learn from you if there's any other suggestions that is worth sharing with all of us here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thank you for sharing your best practices, because this is the purpose of having this regional conference, so that we can learn from each other's experience and improve. Yes, madam.
I am sorry, I just have to beg leave, and it was a great experience, a great learning experience. I will connect with you later also and learn more about your experience, because as I said, it's all collective, it's integrated, and we are all connected to this. I've heard that you've been to Walled City last night, Shahi Killa, and I'm sure you had a great time. So wishing you a comfortable stay and a safe journey back home. And I have to leave for a meeting, but I would also leave these two documents here from Punjab case study, which is smog mitigation plan, and also the climate resilience vision document. The important and critical thing is that these both documents have their monitoring framework and targets in the policy itself. So it will be very, very beneficial for all of you when you go back home to learn from us, and also us learning from your experience around the globe. So thank you very much once again.
With this, we'll move on to our next panelist, Madam Munazza. Madam Munazza, in your role as chairperson of the National Assembly Standing Committee on Climate Change, could you please share with us the national policies which are being developed or have been developed in the past to combat urban air pollution, and how these policies integrate with sustainable urban planning?
Thank you, Sarah. First of all, I would like to welcome the foreign delegates and the esteemed panelists to be here. I am chairperson Climate Change Committee in the National Assembly. So as chairman of the Standing Committee on Climate Change in National Assembly of Pakistan, I bear the responsibility of scrutinizing government policies on environmental protection, ensuring their effective implementation, and advocating for a legislative framework that aligns with the exigencies of an escalating climate crisis. Our committee functions as a parliamentary watchdog, overseeing the efficacy of national strategies to mitigate urban pollution, an urgent crisis with profound implication for public health, economic productivity, and environmental sustainability. While government initiatives are in place, regulatory inconsistencies, bureaucratic inertia, and enforcement inefficiencies continue to undermine substantive progress. Addressing these systematic deficiencies necessitates a sustained data-driven and cross-sectoral policy approach that harmonizes enforcement with legislative reforms. First of all, I would like to congratulate the Punjab government for taking such positive initiatives, and that Mariam Aurangzeb has left. And I would like to congratulate the Honorable Chief Minister, and Mariam Aurangzeb, the Senior Minister also, who has been my colleague in National Assembly also, that the Punjab government is taking a lot of initiatives and they're implementing a lot of things, and they have a very comprehensive climate change policy also. Likewise, of course, at the national level, they have a very comprehensive climate change policy. But I would like to uh, uh, point out few areas where we lack a lot. Like I would like to say that despite of multiple interventions on urban air pollution, the execution of urban air pollution control measures remains fragmented and inadequately enforced. The concentration of pollutants in Islamabad and other metropolises frequently surpasses hazardous thresholds. Why I'm trying to point out these things, that we as a climate change committee, we need to point out where there are deficiencies. Of course, the government of Pakistan is trying its level best to overcome all these deficiencies, but there's a lot of work to be done, and we have to not only walk the talk, but we have to really take it seriously at the national level, of course. We are doing a lot of work at national level, but as parliamentary committee to do oversight, I still see a lot of deficiencies in different areas. So likewise, national clean air policy. We do have a national clean air policy, ambitious but under-enforced. The NACAP constitutes a comprehensive regulatory blueprint and as committee, I still think that there's a lot of work to be done on that. Of course, we have different departments at national level, likewise, like we have in Punjab. But we still need to do a lot at the national level. The interprovincial coordination is very, very important. As our honorable member from the Sindh Assembly was asking a couple of questions, I think the areas where Punjab has done well, I think the other provinces should try to engage themselves with Punjab and the other provinces where they are doing excellent job. And I think this way we can improve a lot. And I would like to mention that we have a national clean air policy at national level, and we are doing legislative amendments to strengthen the national environment quality standards, and we are we're ensuring that stricter penalties for non-compliance and mandating digital air quality surveillance we're trying to enhance and have a transparent way, transparency in it. We have vehicular emission policy at the national level, but there is a deficit in implementation. Of course, the adoption of Euro 5 is very important, which at the national level, as a committee, as it is our role to we are trying our level best that we should point out that unless and until we don't we don't go towards Euro 5, lot of issues will not be addressed as they will be addressed, because the emission problem will stay if we keep on using Euro 4 because the rest of the world has now moved to Euro 5 and we are still using Euro 4. So then we have national electric vehicle policy also that is still underutilized at national level. Punjab government, I think, is far ahead. I must congratulate them. They are far ahead. We need to take initiatives at national level and give incentives to industries to bring in motor industries to bring in more EV vehicles. And then again, promotion of electric, of course, EV is very important at the national level also. So we have a policy for EV electric vehicles. And then we have the standing committee has directed the CDA, which is the Capital Development Authority and Chief Commissioner Officer, to expedite the implementation of compulsory vehicle fitness certification system. As Mariam Aurangzeb just mentioned in her speech, that Punjab has already started it, and we have given the CDA to implement this policy at the national level. I think I've taken a lot of time, and the bell is ringing again and again. But I would like to say that at national level also, not that as a chairperson of the Climate Change Committee, I have to scrutinize, I have to criticize, and I have to highlight the areas which need to be improved. That's why I criticized a little. But I can assure you at the national level also, the efforts are being made, because it is very important for the health of our citizens, not only in Punjab, but all over Pakistan, because that we have to give future generations a clean, green Pakistan and an environment that they can breathe in, and where they can have a healthy life in future also. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Munazza Appa. I would like to appreciate Madam Munazza, because she was not feeling well but still managed to come for this panel discussion. So another round of applause for her, please. And I think it's very important to positively criticize issues or policies which are not being implemented. So I think she's put it up very nicely. We'll move on to our next panelist, the last panelist, and then question answers from our esteemed panelists which are remaining. So, Mr. Dareshak, as the convener of the Green and Disaster Risk Reduction Caucus in the Punjab Assembly, what policies have you advocated for to promote green infrastructure and reduce disaster risks in urban areas? Would you please highlight upon that? Thank you.
Thank you. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. First of all, I welcome all the honorable guests and the participants who are present here. My topic, as you see, the name of the caucus, it is quite different from what is happening in the cities. If I cut it short, because we have already run short of time, our Minister Saiba, she was quite, she explained all the policies of Government of Punjab in detail, and all the honorable panelists, they also shared the experiences. My takeaway is that yes, we have the policies, but where is the implementation? If we have implementation, we can speak a lot. If there is no implementation, then I put this question to the audience. Secondly, yes, we are talking about the cities. What are we doing with the forests? Are we going for more forests? Are we looking into the forestation of indigenous trees? If yes, then again, I put this question to the audience because what I have learned from, I belong to the area which is hard hit by the flash floods, South Punjab. We are sandwiched between floods. We are hit by hail torrents on one side, and the other side, the glacier, melting of the glaciers, that also helps affect because the river Indus, it comes and hits, and it's our area that is surrounded by the Indus that is always in under flood, underwater every year. So not only we have to focus on cities, we have to focus on the glaciers also, which has also been affected by the smog. Smog affects glaciers, and that is quite visible. If our colleague from Azad Kashmir, she can say that what is happening over there with the glaciers right now. My request over here is that yes, we have the policies, unless and until we do not implement those policies in letter and spirit, we are not going to go anywhere. We are keep on going in glaciers, in circles. I have made this whole presentation, but this presentation is basically what? Only words, promoting green infrastructure, energy efficiency standards for buildings, public transportation and mobility solutions, climate adaptation and planning, waste reduction and circular economy, sustainable land use and zoning laws, financial incentives and carbon pricing, public awareness and education, collaboration with the private sector, disaster risk reduction and response plans. Yes, I can say I can go more. Again, I would come to the conclusion, where is the implementation? If we have implementation, these words matter. If we do not have implementation, these words doesn't matter. Thank you so much.
Now let's move on to the last set of questions for our esteemed panelists. Um, Somebody who has not asked a question before, first we'll give a chance to them. Yes, sir. Yes.
Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Thank you very much for providing me a chance uh, to have a question on this topic, climate change. Pakistan has become a very vulnerable in a flood as well as in air pollution, and particularly in this Commonwealth platform. Can we give some suggestions to the Commonwealth countries that the contribution toward the pollution of Pakistan is a very limited, because Pakistan is not an industrial state. So they should have a lion's share to cope up with this issue. So what is the strategy and what is the way forward that the Commonwealth countries can contribute to mitigate and to face this challenge? Let me introduce myself. I'm Professor Dr. Abdul Qayyum Chaudhary, Director, Institute of Education and Research, University of the Punjab, as well as I'm the Global President of Commonwealth Club, Academia, Industry and Government Linkages. Thank you.
Okay, so any of the panelists who would like to answer?
I agree with you that we are the minimum contributors to the climate change issues. But at every platform, wherever we go as parliamentarians, and of course the government officials, wherever they go, they mention this thing to the world, that we are the minimum contributors. And we are the maximum affected also. As my esteemed panelist just mentioned, that the glaciers that we have in Pakistan are 70% of the glaciers in the world that we have in Pakistan. And those glaciers are now melting. And we are having major issues as far as the effects of the climate change is being happening in Pakistan. And we have engaged as parliamentarians with the Commonwealth countries also, with the parliaments of the Commonwealth countries also. And as I would like to let you know that as Committee of the Parliament, Climate Change Committee of the Parliament, we have been very, very aggressive towards the policies of our government and criticizing and scrutinizing the policies also. And we want the government to implement those policies, which are quite comprehensive policies. So the Commonwealth country, one of the Commonwealth country and their parliament, British Parliament, took our committee as a test case in British Parliament also. So as far as our role is concerned, as parliamentarians, we are engaging with the Commonwealth country parliamentarians because we have to share our concerns with them. And I think so far we've been successful as parliamentarians and as a committee to share our concerns as parliamentarians and as the representatives of the people of Pakistan. Because the health of the people of Pakistan, because of these air quality issues, and because, as we just mentioned, the scarcity, we'll be facing water issues in the future also, because probably in another 5 to 10 years, water is going to be very scarce in Pakistan. Likewise, our concerns about the glaciers that we have in north of Pakistan. We have engaged with the Commonwealth countries. We have given our concerns, written concern also, and verbally also when we visit the Commonwealth parliaments as parliamentarians.
Right. So, next question. Yes, sir. And then. So after this question, we take the last two questions, and then we'll wind up the session.
So, with your permission, I've got a question, but before that, a comment perhaps to supplement what the honourable member has eloquently provided in terms of a response. I think that, first of all, my name is Jarvis Mati. I'm Deputy Secretary General for the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. I think the value of coming together as an association is that we have convening power, and also we provide an opportunity to share best practices. And the CPA has always regarded the issue of climate change as a cross-cutting issue, and so very important that we keep up to date with development. So there are issues relating to research and development, and I'm glad that Professor Chaudhry is here and shared his experiences. I think that for that to continue and to put the issue on the agenda, regardless whether you are highest polluter or you are badly affected by impact of climate change. So I just wanted to add that comment and appreciate your point about the need to sort of look at what else is happening across the Commonwealth in terms of parliaments. My question is, with regard to turnover, which we continue to see in parliaments, vis-a-vis the responsibility that parliaments or parliamentarians have to hold government to account, especially on the commitments to treaties and conventions that they sign up internationally. How do we ensure that parliamentarians are up to date with those commitments and that regardless of whether there's the turnover in parliament, you are able to hold government to account. It's very easy for new parliamentarians to come and not to know what has been happening before. So I just wanted to know your views on that one. Thank you.
It's a very important question. I would like your honorable self to go to the website of the Parliamentary Committee on Climate Change, and you'll know that we have a website which shows all the MOUs, all the agreements that the government of Pakistan has signed. So whatever the government of Pakistan signs those agreements have to be taken by the provinces also. And as far as the parliamentarians are concerned, I can assure you that parliamentarians are aware of the fact that we have signed on Paris Agreement, we have signed a lot of MOUs as far as climate change is concerned. And we take up these issues. And we take up these one by one, we take up all the agreements that the government of Pakistan has signed in our committee, and we as parliamentarians make the government accountable on the fact that you have signed these agreements, how you are implementing those agreements, and are you abiding by those agreements. So we take up these things in the parliamentary committee. And I can assure you our committee is very powerful, very effective, and we even scrutinize the PSTP that the government, because next week I'm going to take up PSTP and I'm going to see how much the government is ready to invest on climate change and on what areas they are going to invest in the PSTP. And whether the money that is given to the ministry, do they use it properly, or the whole of the amount is utilized on the things that they had promised, or on the agreements that they have signed. So we try to bring the government to give awareness at the national level also to the people of Pakistan, how important the climate change is, and they have to be aware of the fact. They have to work side by side with the government. Unless the people do not cooperate with the government, it cannot happen. Only the government cannot do it. We do realize it, and as parliamentarians and as people's representative, it is our role and it is our job to go to our constituencies, go to the people of Pakistan, and give them awareness how important it is. So most of our parliamentarians come from the rural areas, where we have parliamentarians from the urban areas also. But we need to give awareness to the people who are living in rural areas also, because it is easy to engage people from urban areas, but it is difficult to engage people from rural areas. And that job can be best done by the representatives of that areas, by the elected members of that area. So I can assure you that we do do oversight about the agreements that the government of Pakistan has signed. Thank you.
All the questions and answering them very well, because the time for the panel discussion is over and we've actually exceeded the time. So I would request the people who want to ask the questions to ask separately once we're done. I would now like to request you to join us for refreshments. They're served right here. Thank you all for taking out the time and participating in this panel discussion, especially our esteemed panelists. Thank you so much.